Hey there. So do your parents still live in the same home that you grew up in the Seattle area?
Are you talking to me? Yes.
Yeah, the answer is
Absolutely,
yes.
my mom does.
Okay, so before we kind of get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button below so that you're notified every time we have a new video posted. This can be a tricky topic. So there's so many baby boomers. I mean, we're getting to that point where baby boomers are aging.
Oh, for sure.
And
both of our parents.
Yeah, and many of them have been living in their same home for decades, 20, 30, 40 years.
At least. I mean, my mom has been in her house for almost 40 years.
Right.
And hasn't done much to it.
Okay, so that's where the issue lies. So when you've been living in your home for decades, you've likely collected a lot of stuff. I mean, I love my mother-in-law dearly, but holy cow. I'm like almost panicking and dreading the day that we have to get her house ready to list because there is so much stuff.
And she's already planted the seed that like when we sell, there's going to be a lot to do. And Molly has already been saying, maybe we should start now
and slowly chip away at it. So basically what we want to do in this video is kind of show you how we can be a resource if you are in that exact same position. Because we know as the children of these baby boomers, a lot of the work and pressure is going to be on us to take care of everything. Because if you're 80 years old, you don't have the energy to figure this out, manage the project, physically move stuff, and in some unfortunate circumstances, your parents have already passed and you're having to deal with this.
Is that we've done this for clients that have to downsize just because they can't use the stairs anymore as they get older. And we've done this for clients whose, the house is transferred to their name and their parents have passed away.
Right.
And they don't know what to do. And they have a full-time job and they have kids. And there's just a lot. So we want to start talking about like what we do and how we help people out, especially if you're in the Seattle area.
Let's kind of start with we kind of talked about this before, the first piece being the last one I talked to you about. So in the Seattle area with these older homes that have been lived in for 30, 40 years, a lot of builders are coming around and trying to scoop them up. And they're doing things like sending letters, knocking on the door saying, hey, I'll buy your house for $700,000.
And okay, that's really so I don't want to say that's all negative, but I do think it is negative, right? So there are certain people that are like, you know what? It might be worth $1 million. They'll give me $850. It's out of my hair.
And I don't have to do anything.
Worry about it. Then that is a great fit for you. But if money is important to you, right? And you have, like we can usually fix up a home in like a month that you think it's worth $1 million and in good condition, it's $1,100,000, and the difference of those $250, am I doing my math right? $850 to whatever, about $250,000 is important to you or your siblings or your parents if they're moving into a new home. There are really good ways to do that. So in my view, there are homes that should be torn down, right? Like if the roof's fallen in, if the foundation is done, if the structure of the house is terrible and it's not just cosmetic, then it may need to be torn down.
Sure, it may need to be torn down by a builder.
But the majority of houses are not like that.
No.
So we typically walk in, and we did this for, think about Carrie's house. So it's my son's aunt, right? From a previous marriage.
Yeah.
And her sisters were telling her, just get what you can for the houses to tear down, right? So this was not at the height of the market in 2022. So her sisters, and we talked to a few builders because I was trying to make it easy for her, and the builders offered her about $800,000. And I said, why don't we just put in as much money as you're comfortable with, which was $50,000. And it was new flooring, painting the house inside and out,
new countertops,
yeah. New appliances. So we put in, it was less, again, it was a couple of years ago. I think it was about $45,000. And it sold for over $1.3 million. So she made an extra $550,000
just by putting a little extra work into it.
And money is so important to a lot of people. And even my clients that are crazy rich, they're the most frugal people that I know.
That's true.
Right? So I think, in my opinion, like there are people that are like, you know what, I just can't even deal with it. Like maybe you live out of state and your parents sold the house over here. I think there are so many good opportunities to make a lot of money by trusting your realtor, and hopefully it's us. to do the right thing to help you make a lot more money.
Yeah. So the point in all of that is that is an option to just unload it to a builder. You don't have to do anything, take care of anything, easy peasy, done. But what we're telling you is that we can manage all of these projects, and we'll get into that. Make your parents a little bit extra money. And for many of these baby boomers, they're moving out of their house because maybe they have to go into assisted living. So I'll bet an extra $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 is going to help pay for that.
Well,
but also another piece of it, and I know this is true for so many baby boomers, you've been in that house for 40 years. There's a sentimental value to it. You want to pass it off to another family who can enjoy it and grow with that house versus a builder tearing it down and building some monstrosity on top. So that's almost a way to kind of sell it to your parents, is like, this home is going to go off to another family.
Like, I had one client that was paying $10,000 a month, $10,000 a month for care for her husband before he passed away.
Yeah.
So I think this money goes a long way. And I think that, one, the emotional piece that you talked about is like, there are certain people that are absolutely down that path. And then there are certain people that are like, it's all about money. But when you sell to a family or somebody else, it fixes both issues.
Right.
That's the best part about it.
Okay, so let's say you're on this path now. Like, you don't want a builder to buy the house. You want it to go to another lovely family. And like we mentioned at the beginning, your parents have been in that house for 20, 30, 40 years. There's a lot of stuff and likely a good handful of upgrades that need to be done. I mean, like,
a handful?
We could just use your mom's house.
Yeah.
Hopefully your mom's not watching this. Although I'd say all of this to her. There's just a lot that needs to be done. There's some homes that haven't even been touched in 40 years. So a piece of that is, this is all going on your shoulders, right? Mom and dad are too old. They are tired. They don't have the energy to deal with this. So they're looking to you kids saying, okay, I want to move. You got to help me do all of this. But you have your own lives. You have your own kids and jobs and busy things to do that it's overwhelming for you. So this is where we step in.
So we absolutely step in, and our clients who trust us, they can typically just give us the keys to the castle. It's a house.
Okay, it's a house.
And just trust us to do everything.
Yeah.
And that includes, so what we typically do when we walk in with this is we start looking at not only the projects that need to be done in the house. That's a piece of the program that we do. But the other things are what needs to be donated, what needs to be sold, and what needs to be moved.
Yep.
So we literally...
There's 3 piles.
It's not even piles. We have to go through, and it takes hours to go through, and we color code with stickers which of those 3 things, which each item goes into which pile, right? And we help if they need to be donated. We help with the donation service to pick them up. If they need to be sold, we have people on our team that help you make extra money by selling, not the sentimental things that you obviously want to keep and move to the new house number 3, but the things that you want to, like, can you make an extra few $1,000s? Because again, my whole mentality is that, like, money's real, and especially in these times. And if we can make you an extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 by selling some of your furniture, some of your belongings that you can't move into a condo or wherever your parents might be living, we help do that as well.
Yeah, and then also my favorite piece is getting the dumpster. Toss, toss, toss. I mean, let's be honest. There's probably a lot of stuff hidden in these homes that, like, haven't seen the light of day in maybe 15 years. So we can just put that right in the dumpster.
And if you look over my shoulder, maybe you'll find an old pair of Michael Jordan shoes.
And you can
actually, or a Mickey Mantle rookie card.
Jason's had clients before I joined on that were downsizing, and they had all this, like, stuff. Remember, like, the Disney books and all that kind of stuff.
It's not even,
they gave them to Jason.
Well, I offered to help them sell some things, and they're like, they had these classic literature books that were like hundred years old, and they're all wrapped up and like, and again, they're in the garage now, so if you want them, let me know.
No, we'll find a place for them.
Like, there are so many, like, you're going through your stuff, and I'm imagining going through my parents' attic, as long as rodents didn't get to them.
Yeah.
But there are things in the attic that we haven't seen in 30 or 40 years.
Right.
So we don't just toss some of those things.
We don't,
like, we bring them to your attention, and you may be involved for an hour or so to help go through some of these things to make sure that we're doing the right things with your belongings.
Yeah. So once everything kind of has been cleared out of the house, put into the right piles, donated, sold, whatever, then it's a matter of doing all those upgrades. And it doesn't have to, it probably seems like, oh, you're going to gut the house. It's minimal just to make it look presentable. Like, what would you do to your mom's house?
Well,
new carpet.
Well, I mean, there's new carpet. You're going to want to paint. You want to open up some, new countertops. But you think about, we're doing it for the client's house remodeling right now in Kirkland. They had been in there for about 25 years.
Yep.
And we walked in, and in their view, it was a great house. It has a view of Lake Washington, which is priceless in this area. But the walls hadn't been touched in a while. The bathrooms hadn't been touched in a while. The kitchen countertops hadn't been touched in a while. The roof needed to be looked at. Exterior siding needed to be looked at. So anyways, there's a whole list of things that we have to do. And we don't just hire a contractor and say, hey, John, can you remodel this house for us? And he comes in and he says it's $200,000. We have a team of contractors that charge $60 an hour, which is less than, again, if you're watching this and you don't live in Seattle, that might seem like a lot of money.
That's
but in
a
Seattle,
steal out here.
It's about a 50%, it's a coupon discount.
Yeah.
And they're very good, licensed and bonded, and they will do all the work at a fraction of the cost. So if somebody, like I've had somebody quote, a contractor quote on a remodel, $200,000, and I've had our team, they don't work for us, or the contractors we trust, do it for $45,000.
It's a big difference.
So that, I know the intimidation part is like, it's going to be so expensive. It doesn't have to be, right? You're selling it you're remodeling it to sell it. And we are not, we're not contractors. We help project managers, the contractors that come in, but you can do it for so much less than you ever think. We've done it to our own house, the last house down the street.
And the return is huge, And
we will only advise on things that we know will make you money. So if you look at, flooring, kitchen, master bath, and then obviously the things that are must-haves, like if a roof or something like that needs some attention.
And there's another video on our YouTube channel that you can look at. We have a program called Compass Concierge where you can borrow the money up front and pay it back at closing. So if you don't have extra cash on hand, your parents don't have extra cash on hand, don't worry about it. We can figure all of that out.
Yeah, and that is part. So I think the biggest part of the program, obviously, is that we take care of it all for you. But the second biggest part of the program is like, if you need to borrow, let's say $25,000, it doesn't cost you anything. So that basically means you will pay it back when you sell your house. But if your house sells for $1 million and you borrow $25,000, you just pay the $25,000 back when you get your money from selling the house.
Right. So no cash is ever leaving your bank account.
No.
So
and that's a huge thing.
Really, the whole piece in this conversation is that if you're going through this right now, it's so overwhelming. You're like, I don't even know what to start. Your parents are like, I don't know, you handle this, and there's just stuff, and it can just take over your brain. We're here to tell you that we are your resource, and we will take care of everything from start to finish, helping you clear things out, helping any sort of improvements need to be had, and we're going to make you and your family and your parents so much more money. So yeah, that's what we got for you.
Yeah. So if you live in the Seattle area, or if you're moving to the Seattle area, we'd love to be your trusted resource for buying or selling a home. And that's it for today.
Yep.